reaction to Trump's Truth Social comments about NATO being cowards and a paper tiger? Is he out of line?
Yes, it's completely untrue. And as I said earlier this week, this silliness with an endless war of words is not good for the Western alliance. The only people who are benefiting are countries like Iran and Russia, who are against countries in NATO and the US and the UK in particular.
The Attorney General, Lord Hermer, said yours and Nick Timothy's comments about public prayer beg the question, would you have a problem if he, as a Jewish man, was praying in public? Or is it just Muslim prayer you find offensive and contrary to British values? What's your response to that?
Richard Hermer is a ridiculous man. This is a man who was supporting Shamima Begum. He was her lawyer trying to get the citizenship, which we had revoked. This is not a man who has national interest at heart. What Nick Timothy was talking about was a divisive event where women were pushed to the back. I don't like to see that sort of gender segregation. I don't think it is British. It's not what we're used to in this country. We, of course, welcome prayer. We welcome religious freedom in this country, people of all religions. And actually, I think that Richard Hermer's comments are very, very divisive and a distraction which Labour are trying to create from the mess that they're making in the country.
What do you make of the International Energy Agency's advice to help ease the energy crisis, which includes working from home, driving more slowly, and that it's time for governments to become more vocal about how energy is used?
So I'm very concerned about reduced economic activity. Today I've been speaking to lots of businesses that are struggling to survive, high street businesses saying that they're not getting any footfall. My worry is that if we're telling people to work from home and carry out less activity, some businesses will go bust. There's a lot that we learned during the COVID period of what is helpful and what is not helpful when it comes to the economy. What I want to see is our government doing more to increase our energy supplies. That means drilling in the North Sea. We would get gas supplies pretty much immediately that would serve this country.
Final question. What's your reaction to the news that an Iranian has been arrested attempting to enter a nuclear base?
I think this is just yet more evidence that Iran is an enemy of the UK. The security services have been telling us repeatedly. They've foiled multiple terror plots. A few weeks ago, we saw Iranians arrested for spying on Jewish communities in this country. And that is why it is very important that we are clear whose side we're on in this conflict. We didn't start it, but we are definitely not on the side of Iran.
Following the events which happened at Trafalgar Square on Monday, do you believe public prayer in open spaces is legitimate for all faiths, or is there something uniquely problematic about Islamic prayer?
We do think that you should be able to have public prayer for all faiths. But what I don't want to see is gender-segregated events that are not inclusive. That's what was happening in Trafalgar Square, and that's what I'm against.
And in what ways was the open iftar event on Monday not inclusive apart from gender segregation?
Well, one of the things that both Nick Timothy and I have been saying is that we've been to many iftar events. This one was quite different. It was not welcoming to others, despite what the organisers say. And the fact is that Keir Starmer himself withdrew from an event organised by that same organisation, Ramadan events. They are a highly controversial group. And I think if people looked into their background and what they support, they will see why Nick Timothy was so critical, and he was right to be critical.
Following the advice issued today from the International Energy Agency, they set out a range of actions to help deal with the oil market disruptions. Do you agree that people should work from home more, fly less, drive more slowly, and use more public transport to help ease the disruptions?
I think that we will all need to think about how our fuel consumption, but I'm very worried about anything that indicates there should be less economic activity. These things will have an impact on high street businesses that I've been speaking to today. They're talking about how the footfall is disappearing. They're losing money. If we don't have these businesses, we're going to have less in terms of tax take. That's going to have an impact on public services. If the government wants to fix this problem, it needs to start using our own oil and gas supplies. It can start drilling in the North Sea, where we will be able to immediately use gas, and that would have a huge impact, not just on people's ability to access fuel, but also lowering bills as well.
An estate agent, but we want to talk stamp duty. So you're going to be Guy and Rachel. There's Rachel and Andy. Hello. Hello. This is Kemi.
So have you closed up just for briefly for this?
No, we're still open, so if a lead
Okay.
comes through the door.
That's very important. Yes, we want to make sure that you carry on with business.
Or the phone might ring.
Yes. We are supporting business people, businesses, family businesses, because you give your heart and soul to it. It's just a lot more effort than working, in a big corporation or in the public sector. Your whole life is in the business.
Yeah.
So yes,
Absolutely.
I wanted to find out from you just what it has been like over the past sort of couple of years. I've heard a little bit, but I thought from the horse's mouth it'd be better to just get the direct experience of what's been going on. What do you want people out there to know?
The over-administration that we have to go through to take on employees makes us want to take a back
Makes
step.
us nervous.
Right.
Nervous about
So
it.
you're talking about the employment rights legislation that's coming in and all of that. This is one of the things that I've been talking about. Lots of people in government think that you can just make more and more rules and regulations and everything's better. They never think about how people might react to that it changes their risk appetite.
He is the best Tory you could ever.
Thank you.
Set up with no money, with a pound, and been through the mill with a pound. That was to open the bank account with.
That's 2001.
2000.
2000. Coming up to 26 years.
Yeah. So at the moment, touch wood, it's going okay, but I fear for the worst in a couple of months.
Well, I think there will always be a market because people grow up, they want to buy, they're saving, but everyone's telling me just how much harder it's getting.
The minimum wage going up, the new employments that are coming through, it's just making it impossible for us at the moment. Taxes of rising business rates, taxes on fuel, everything, rising costs that just keep going up. And even here in these things.
We know that the last general election, it was time for us to go. The public made it clear. But they can also see that Labour, who they did give a chance to, have made everything worse. And I'm now telling people that we've learned the lessons of the past. We can fix this. We know what's gone wrong. We know the bad decisions that were made. We know how to turn things around. But we need them to put their faith in us. So I'm making sure I'm getting all around to places like in East Grinstead, spreading that message.
The bad winners. They are some of the best going. We've got to go in this way. Run by Mr. Folk.
You can't compare an FOBT, which is a fixed odds betting terminal, to a horse race.
Yes, exactly.
Because they're completely different. But but they're trying to be put under the same umbrella, and
Well,
they're
which
just
one-
quite frankly not.
What's the one thing you want me to tell Keir Starmer from your perspective? I'm going to ask everybody this question.
Get ready.
What's the one thing that you want to see?
So I think I just think that having them under the same umbrella is wrong, and I think that sports betting and casino betting are totally two different animals.
Day in, day out, and that equally transpires into a significant cost saving.
How do you recruit for the right values?
So, well, my organisation is only a small part of it. It is also about the messaging, it's about the culture within the organisation, but it's also embracing that whole sort of, if you care, into an organisation that becomes a profit centre, not a cost centre, and actually make them generate money, because there's so many, not just mine, other organisations out there that they can capitalise upon. And
Too many people are just not even bothering to start businesses, which means you never get the rates in the first place. We are losing the entrepreneurial spirit. People are just giving up and thinking it's too much hassle, so why start? And if we're not starting businesses today, in 5-10 years' time, we're going to be in a really, really terrible place. So keeping the businesses that we've got, but getting new ones, is really important.